Two cities linked by a turnpike 130 miles long. The Browns first played the Steelers in 1950 and destroyed them. Over the next 20 years, they beat the Steelers 35 times. It was routine until the 70s. In a 3-year period, the Pittsburgh Steelers picked up Joe Green, Mel Blount, Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, Lynn Swann, Franco Harris, John Stallworth, and Terry Bradshaw. Cleveland got quarterback Mike Phipps. But this was 1980. It was a new time, a new chance. Lyle Alzado knew that the Steelers were coming to town as he chanted all week, "War! War! War! War!" Eddie Shorger kept up his end of the bargain as well. He now expected to hear the voice. Before the Tampa Bay game, he was told to retrieve an old, faded picture of his grandfather and great-uncle. On his own, he purchased a frame so they could join him. The next week, the voice told him to get in shape. So he bought a pair of Puma athletic shoes. The voice also told him to stand up. So at the top of the Seattle game, he stood throughout the entire first quarter, and the Browns were brilliant. Before the Green Bay game, he was told to bear all troubles. It was a bit of a mystery until he went to Kroger's and saw a toy bear with a Browns football helmet. Just before the final play, he put the bear on top of the TV set as Logan skipped into the end zone! But on this week, Steelers Week, the voice suddenly got religious. He was to hold his mother's rosary and say a Hail Mary. Hail Mary, he thought. That's good. So, on this all-important Sunday, October 26th, 1980, Eddie Shorger sat with an orange and brown knitted cap poised loosely on his head, holding his mother's rosary deep in prayer. Now, his wife found this whole football thing ridiculous, so she went to see a matinee of Somewhere in Time with her sister. But Eddie's 7-year-old son found the entire process fascinating. He sat at the top of the bedroom stairs, watching his father watch the game. The Browns were down early, 10-0. They finally had luck with one particular play, the 85 halfback option. In this play, the running back would swing around to the back of the end zone where Sipe would thread the needle for a touchdown. They tried it 3 times to great success. Cleo Miller, touchdown! Greg Pruitt, touchdown! Greg Pruitt, touchdown! But these were the Cardiac Kids. So with a little less than 5 minutes left in the game, they were still down 20-26. They got the ball back and ended up on the 18-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they tried the 85 halfback option. But this time, when they lined up, Eddie Shorger had a vision. On his television screen, Ozzie Newsome lit up and sparkled. The Steelers were showing a blitz. This left one defender to cover Ozzie Newsome. This defender lined up on the inside of Ozzie, leaving a clear path to the end zone. This path lit up in Eddie's mind like a yellow brick road. He leaned forward to the screen and whispered, "Ozzy." When the vision became reality, the ball was snapped, the Steelers blitzed, but instead of throwing down the middle as planned, Sipe threw to the right corner, and there stood Ozzie Newsome for a touchdown! For the first time in 3 long, terrible years, the Cleveland Browns beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 27-26! And within the safe confines of his living room, Eddie Shorger did a mad dance of cardiac celebration. It was honest and true. It was joyful and primal. And Eddie felt himself rise into the air with each gyration, floating freely about the room as his son sat at the top of the stairs, transfixed by the sight of his floating father. On the final Thursday in October, there was a crisis at the Pewter Mug. Mr. Shapiro, the owner, ran into the kitchen. "Where's Wanda?" "I fired her." Chef Williams got into a fight with his assistant. The trouble was, of course, the timing. It was 10 minutes before the lunch rush. So Mr. Shapiro gathered the staff together to come up with a plan. "I can do it." Henry heard his own voice. "I can help Chef." He didn't even wait for an answer. He went around the group, collected the necessary ingredients for salads, and the switch was made. The lunch rush was amazing, but so was Henry. He chopped tomatoes and onions and cucumbers. He prepped salads and soups. He cooked French fries and onion rings. He called out orders. "Sirloin medium with fries, up!" When the lunch rush was over, the entire staff gave him a standing ovation. He couldn't wait to tell Liz. He burst into the Lawsons and said, "We are going to dinner!" That weekend, he helped Liz move into a small one-bedroom townhouse outside of Stowe. They moved her things on Saturday with a rented U-Haul and then unpacked on Sunday. Henry even helped her set up her television set. The Browns weren't playing until Monday night, so Henry had to teach Liz about the NFL with a St. Louis Cardinals game. She made an effort to understand. Later, Henry was cooking dinner when he thought he heard somebody crying. He stepped into the living room, dining room area, and there was Liz on the ground, crumpled, weeping. He held her for a very long time. He never said a word. She seemed a bit brighter at dinner. Then, as the sun began to sink, they sat together under a blanket out on the balcony, facing the main road, Stowe Road, a cornfield spread out on the other side of the highway. It started to get quite chilly, and Liz closed her eyes and nuzzled next to Henry. He took stock of the past few months. It had been a heady time for him. He met Liz, became friends with her, and more, maybe. He had really grown at the Pewter Mug and found something that he really liked to do. And his Browns. The Cardiac Kids were the talk of the NFL as they finally beat the Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, Henry thought about these things as he looked out at the brown stalks of dried corn and the deep purple blue of the sky. And he felt good and happy and hopeful. This is it. This is the year. This is our time.
Rules!
Yeah, that was good.
That was
nice.
me. That was me. I hit it.
Yeah.
So when does the season start?